All right, guys. So I made it back in the timber. One of my previous videos was methods on controlling bush honeysuckle. So I wanted to give you a little bit of an update on the area that I'd done some trials on, if you will. It's making a huge difference just in the small area I started working on. You can kind of see behind me there the brown leaves. All those plants there are dying. Same thing over there. So it's definitely working. The thing with bush honeysuckle and a lot of invasives is, they shade out the ground. So you don't have anything growing underneath. I'll flip the camera around here and show you guys a little bit more, but essentially where a lot of this bush honeysuckle is, there's very, very little growth underneath of anything. So that's why it's important to try and get those controlled. Just with anything, a little bit is not an issue. Bush honeysuckle does, stay green, well after pretty much anything else has turned brown and the leaves have fallen off. So I guess from a cover standpoint, it does provide that aspect. Going into winter, it's still holding its leaves, so it can provide, a good windbreak if you guys are in an area that doesn't have much topography or anything else to provide windbreaks for, bedding areas and whatnot. But if you let it go, it'll grow and it'll take over. So like I said, I'll flip the camera around and I'll show you guys what little bit I've done and how effective it's been. All right. So you can see a lot of this back in here, all the leaves are gone. So there's quite a bit opened up here. This is pretty much where I started. So we'll go ahead and go up the hill from here. This big one here, it's still got some green up there, but for the most part, it's lost probably 80% of its leaves, it looks like. And this is a big one. It's 3 or 4 trunks, and it's probably, at least 8 inches or better in diameter at the base there. But you can see, some of my previous hacks where I applied the herbicide, and it's taken out most of it. So, but like I'd mentioned in the other video, with some of these multi-trunk invasives like this, hack and squirt can be challenging because you need to either get all the way down at the base where the trunks are together or get each individual trunk. But you can see here how much it's opened up. All the twigs and stems on here. You can look at one that I didn't do. Look how many leaves and how much shade that's going to provide. But now all this ground here is exposed. So we'll be able to get some filtered sunlight through the canopy and hopefully start getting some quality browse growing in here. But like I said, this is a work in progress. You can see up here, especially along the left side, all this is turned brown. So it's definitely effective. But when you have as much as I do, hack and squirt may not be the best option. Although effective, it'll be time consuming. But we shall see. Like I'd mentioned earlier, you can do a cut stump to where you actually cut everything off at the ground level, treat the stump so it prevents any regrowth. Or you can do a foliar type of application, but I'm not a big fan of even with like a hand sprayer or a backpack sprayer, doing foliar, because I mean, take this area for example. There's a couple dozen plants growing in here, and I mean, you can see on the other side that I've killed quite a bit of it with hack and squirt. But you've got all kinds of other plants growing down in here, that are beneficial. It's not like it's the greatest browse, but you don't want to kill everything. And if you're using a herbicide like glyphosate, or some of the ones recommended for woody shrubs like this, most of them are broadleaf or non-selective, which is going to kill everything. You don't want that. So here's a couple other big ones that I treated. I mean, these things are like small trees, so I mean they're definitely well established, but the majority of the leaves are gone. I mean, that one back there is huge. I mean, it's probably close to 12 inches at the base, but it's losing quite a bit of its leaves. Looks like I might need to get that one again. But I mean, you can see down here, I mean, the whole hillside's covered in it. There's another big one down there. So I've got plenty of work to do. That is without a doubt. But that's an update on that. Obviously effective. I did some smaller stuff right up here. You can see it's all brown and dying. That stuff. I mean, it's almost comical when you're hacking and squirting, because if you get much of a swing behind your machete or your hatchet, you cut all the way through it because it's so small. I mean, most of it's not much bigger than my index finger or my thumb, but it's obviously killing it. And while we're right here, I wanted to show you guys what a successful hinge cut looks like. You can see here where I cut maybe a third of the way through, and it happened to be a nice long gradual hinge there. Even clear out here, we still have growth, lots of growth coming off the main stump here. You can see where deer have browsed on all this. Same thing with these stump sprouts coming out of there. That's all good, especially winter browse. Deer rely heavily on woody browse, especially in the winter. So I know a lot of folks don't like hinge cuts, and this one's getting to the point where why a lot of people don't like it. If you get down here and start looking up, you're starting to get another canopy, and it's this stuff's my reach is about 7 foot, so a lot of this stuff's going to be out of the reach of the deer here before too long. But it gets to be that point. I mean, you've got options. You can go ahead and cut the stump off, and it'll kill the top of the tree, and you'll still have stump sprouts. But if we come down here where the actual top is, and you can see all the everything that's been getting browsed on, lots of browse, some of the leaves, twigs, so it's providing browse for the deer. It's good cover for small game and stuff. So hinge cutting does serve a purpose. It's just like anything else, though. It's a tool in our management toolboxes. You know, we don't use a sledgehammer to do, you know, finishing work with, you know, brad nails or finishing nails on, you know, wood projects. But, you know, you need to use the right tool for the right job. So you can see here on this trunk here, I mean, everything's been browsed on there. So keep that in mind for you guys that are out there, you know, seeing these hinge cut videos. They're great, you know, under the right circumstances. Here's another one I did. This has been 2 years ago, but you can see all these stump sprouts. Almost every single one's been browsed on. So, you know, oh, why are you hinge cutting, you know, oak trees or whatever? You know, this happened to be in the way of the path here. So instead of clean cutting it, I went ahead and hinged it. You know, I hinged it really low to the ground so I can get my side-by-side back in here, but, you know, still being beneficial to the wildlife. So, all right, guys, there you have it. I got ground blind right through there. I don't know if you can see it. I'll zoom in. It's brushed in pretty good over there. I'm actually going to move that one to a different spot, but I've got a tree stand right up there. The spot is actually where my dad shot that split beam buck. I'll throw a picture in of it, but he was hunting the stand and shot him out of that stand. So it's a really good spot. It's easy to get to. You know, just trying to do little things to improve it. So, all right, guys, we'll keep on moving.